This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. However, I wanted to wait for the right opportunity to make it, but it seems now the opportunity has presented itself, so here we are. If you don't know, there's a YouTuber out there who goes by the name of Jadyn. He's a gameplay commentary YouTuber like me, and he mainly discusses drama or anything that relates to Dream SMP. The reason I'm talking about him today is because out of any commentary channel I've come across, he's by far the most pathetic, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why. A lot of our channels have already talked about him in the past, but I'd still like to give my 2 cents on Jadyn anyways. Speaking of, a lot of the clips and screenshots I'll be using in this video come from other channels, specifically Lanza, so shout out to him. Now before I get into the main stuff, you may have noticed so far that I've been referring to Jadyn as he, and I'd like to clarify that I'm aware Jadyn identifies as a trans woman and wants to be referred to as she, and I also know he changed his name to Jayln to be more feminine. However, I don't think Jadyn deserves any respect as a trans person, and so I'll be referring to him as he throughout the video, and I'm going to be calling him Jadyn. I'll explain why at the end, but I just want to point this out now to avoid any confusion. But anyways, let's begin now, shall we? To really understand why Jadyn is pathetic, we have to take a trip down to Hell, but in this case, Hell is a white bird surrounded by a blue background, or the other way around, and it goes by the name Twitter. Jadyn makes a lot of posts on Twitter, which is already a red flag, and most of his tweets are either him flexing his ego, attacking someone for nothing, or just acting like a raging lunatic, or all of the above. But it's not as simple as that, because you see, each time this stuff occurs, it happens in a very specific pattern, a pattern that has become known by many as the Jadyn cycle. The first example of this type of behavior started from a tweet where Jadyn talks about his success on YouTube, and how he's happy about the current position he's in, but then he immediately contradicts himself in this tweet, complaining that his newest video did bad, and that he now wants to take a break from YouTube. Another YouTuber named Lyrics called Jadyn cringe for making these tweets, and Jadyn basically responded by blocking him. Lyrics then made this tweet calling out Jadyn for blocking him, and here you would probably expect Jadyn to either ignore it or give a reason as to why he blocked him, but instead he replies with this tweet where he flexes his analytics and calls Lyrics a very naughty word that I don't think I can say out loud. After this, Jadyn goes completely ballistic and starts sending death threats to Lyrics and wishing for bad things to happen to him, basically acting like an angry 12-year-old on Xbox Live. He then goes on to make a 2-part tweet complaining about how hard and miserable his life is and how he's sacrificing his own sanity to pump out videos. In other words, he's playing the victim. But it doesn't stop there, because he goes on to make a 2-part video response to the quote-unquote drama, but it's more not just a rant on the difficulties of being a content creator and shitting on smaller channels. Here's a clip from one of the videos.
I am so tired of these small commentary channels always coming after me. Like, these motherfuckers talk the most shit, and their content is some of the worst content I've ever seen on YouTube.
Most videos have a combination of 3 elements that make them good: visuals, audio, and commentary.
You're boring. You're boring.
You take 2 months to make a crappy video that no one cares about on a subject that no one cares about. So yeah, of course your video is not gonna do well. See, when you actually become a YouTuber, you understand supply and demand. And if you want to make this a business, you want to make this a full-time job, you need to upload daily content. Every single YouTuber is competing with every other YouTuber. So if you don't upload daily, the algorithm will promote other people over you. I don't need to put 2 months into every single video. I don't. It's not necessary.
He then finishes off with another rant on Twitter, just once again victimizing himself and taking a giant crap on everyone around him. If you were a fan of Jadyn at the time and saw all this unveil, you would probably be confused by his sudden outrage. But that same day, he made a post on TwitLonger explaining that he's bisexual and that he's been suffering from mental health issues for a little while, and he was hoping that by openly sharing this stuff that would help make him feel better. This definitely helped justify the outrage that he showed, and since this was the first time something like this happened, it was at least fair to cut him some slack. Unfortunately, that's only the beginning of the drama that Jadyn gets involved in. Just as a warning, I'm not going to go through all these chronologically, so if the timeline seems confusing or inconsistent, this is why. When Technoblade first revealed to the world that he had cancer, a lot of people began milking the topic for views, and when this happened, Jadyn made a tweet calling out some of these people. On its own, there isn't anything wrong with this, but around the time he made this tweet, he was talking to people like Lance at their private messaging, and he was literally telling them that he was going to make a video about Technoblade, and even though he was warned not to, he still did anyway. So basically, he calls out people for doing something that he goes on to do himself. In other words, he's being a massive hypocrite. But it doesn't even stop there, because he calls out people for milking Technoblade in the video itself, and here's a clip from the video.
Oh, one thing that I do want to mention is these channels are just really scummy. The dude just announced that he has cancer, and they're already uploading 10 videos using flashy thumbnails, trying to clickbait people into watching. This person literally just uploaded somebody else's stream. Look, I understand if you want to talk about it or make a video like this, but to re-upload somebody else's stream and give it this clickbait title, put people crying in the thumbnail, that's just extremely messed up in my opinion. I don't know, I just kind of had a problem with these channels in the past. I've seen them upload videos about Tommy in it having and they pretty much did the same thing.
He also says at the start of the video that he'll donate any of the money the video makes to charity, which at this point is just another way of saying, give me your money, I'm desperate. Here's that clip.
I feel awful for Technoblade. Now, before we get into the video, I just wanted to say that any money this video does make will be donated to charity.
Not long after making this video, tons of people go after Jadyn on Twitter, and he responds in the same way as the other situation, basically just sending death threats and attacking anyone around him, but he decides to flex his ego once again by saying haters gonna hate, but then also showing the analytics for his video on Technoblade, which basically incentivizes that he doesn't give a crap about Technoblade, and that getting views off of him was probably his only intent. After this, it gets a little more interesting. A very large commentary YouTuber named Optimus decides to respond to Jadyn, telling him that he knows what he did, and then Jayln proceeds to have a huge meltdown. I don't have all the screenshots, but Jayln and Optimus get into a very heated argument that goes on for the rest of the day, and at one point, Jayln tried to accuse Optimus of doing the same thing that he's doing, but of course it failed miserably, and then Jayln basically just complains that everyone hates him and that he's trying really hard to change and whatnot, once again just playing the victim card. The argument between the two eventually ends, but then the next day, Optimus uploads a 40-minute video discussing the whole situation. To summarize the video, he calls out Jayln's hypocrisy and mentions how weird it is for Jayln to be trying really hard to victimize himself when he basically caused the entire situation. Here's a few clips from his video.
And what's super ironic about it is shortly before uploading this YouTube video, Jadyn actually used their more private, I guess, or personal, I should say, Twitter account to shit on the people who were, spamming out content, basically trying to capitalize on the situation. These channels are already milking the Technoblade situation, which, yeah, they are, okay? That's not a false statement. These channels very clearly were, within a few hours of the diagnosis, you got a video out of basically stealing people's content to fucking react to a topic at hand here that's so sad. Jadyn was not in the wrong, but then, of course, you turn around and upload a video doing the same exact thing, people are going to go ahead and say something about that, so that's exactly what happened. I can handle John Swan coming for me. That dude has had it out for me since I joined this community, but not Optimus, not someone I've looked up to for years. I can't handle this shit. None of this matters. What do you people want from me? I've tried all I can, it's never enough. So this tweet came out after I defended myself publicly from the bullshit that was basically thrown at me. And honestly, this tweet creeps me out a little bit because it's almost as if Jadyn kind of weirdly worships me or something. Like, I respond one time and say that I disagree with what this person has done, and next thing you know, I can't handle Optimus fucking saying anything about me, man. I've looked up to him for years. I just can't handle this shit. Nothing I do matters. What does everyone want from me? Nothing I do's enough. I've tried everything I can. Like, what, dude?
Before Optimus even finished making his video, Jadyn uploaded a quote-unquote apology to Optimus, and I say quote-unquote because all Jadyn really does in the video is try to justify his actions. And so Optimus also responds to Jadyn's video where he pretty much destroys all of Jadyn's arguments. Specifically, he calls out his argument on how it wasn't his intention to milk Technoblade. Optimus also mentions how he tried getting into contact with Jadyn to resolve the situation, but Jadyn said he just wanted to move on. However, despite saying that, he still went on to make a video on the subject. Here's a few more clips from Optimus's video.
No, man, that was not the only point, okay? You took a cancer diagnosis and had a video hours out, from all this. After you had shit on other channels for milking the situation, you turned and did the same thing that a lot of these other channels did. That was the main point. If you're gonna milk a topic for views, own it, okay? Don't try and play both sides.
To me, this was just another daily video about something I wanted to talk about. It was just another trending thing in the Minecraft community. It was not my intentions at all to benefit from Technoblade's situation. I just wanted to get another video out.
Oh, it wasn't my intention to benefit, guys. I would never try to benefit on something like this. Says the guy who spammed the whole video full of metadata to get their video promoted about a cancer diagnosis right after it happened and right after they shit on other people for doing it. It was absolutely your intention, okay? And you actually really proved that when you came to Twitter and shared these screenshots where you flexed the fact that it was your best performing video of your last 10, and you flexed that it had thousands of likes, which, pathetically enough, also included yourself. But remember, right? Haters just gonna hate. It wasn't my intention to benefit haters gonna hate. Look how great my 1 out of 10 videos doing. You guys, this is so great. You know, I'm making so much money off this one, man. I'm getting so many clicks. As I'm gonna show you in this screenshot here, I tried my best to get everything settled with Jadyn, and Jadyn is making it out as if I did not reach out and is trying to make this point that, like, you know, I didn't try to help. That isn't the case at all. Me and Tipster actually were both very concerned about Jadyn's mental health, because obviously this was a mental breakdown. This should have never have happened. But of course, this is getting pinned back on me like I'm some heartless piece of shit who just simply didn't care, when that's not the case at all. Do you need to talk? I'm here if you need me. It's too late. It's all over. Optimus is coming for me. I tried to stop you. It's fine. I just need to ignore it and continue uploading. So first and foremost, it's too late. It's all over. Optimus is coming for me. What the kind of statement is that, bro? This motherfucker's talking about me like I'm the Gestapo, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm the secret police.
Not long after this, Jay makes a quick response video, and in it, he said he would take down the Technoblade video, which was a complete lie because it's still up to this day, and he also said he would take a break from Twitter, and that was also a crappy lie. I wish I could say that we're done here, but I'm not even sure if we're halfway finished. Remember that guy Lyrics I mentioned earlier? Well, around a year ago, he made a video talking about Jadyn, and in the video, he calls out a few really edgy tweets from Jadyn. He highlights a drama where he called him out, and he also highlights some other drama that happened. Basically, what happened was that Jadyn threatened to falsely flag someone named Grimsy for apparently being transphobic. I'm not going to explain the full context behind this tweet because it's not really relevant, but Grimsy responds by saying that he doesn't like Jadyn because he's a bad person, not because he's trans, and eventually their rebuttal ends with them basically telling each other to go f themselves. Jadyn eventually accepts defeat and tries to clarify that he's insecure and that he doesn't like how Grimsy keeps using photos of him in his videos, and even goes on to compare it to doxing. What's weird about this is the fact that Jadyn had already done a face reveal prior to this, so it makes no sense why he would have a problem with photos of him being shown. Like, if you don't want your face to be seen, then you shouldn't have done the face reveal. Simple as that. That's not even the worst part of the situation, however, because Jadyn goes on to make a really disturbing tweet where he basically threatens to commit suicide. I don't even want to show the tweet on screen because it's actually messed up. But overall, Jadyn is just once again trying to act like the victim in a situation that he brought onto himself, and at this point it's no longer a surprise to see him doing this. But that's not the full story. That was only what Lyrics talked about in his video. Now we're going to discuss the aftermath. After Lyrics made his video, Jadyn comments on it, basically threatening to have the video taken down, and he complains on Twitter that the video is harassing him and bullying him. It's honestly kind of funny how Jadyn will make really edgy tweets like these, but then when he gets called out for it, he claims that he's being harassed and bullied. Basically, he's trying to play two different characters at once. On one side, you have the edgelord making dark humor jokes, and on the other, you have the sad innocent victim who cries every time someone calls him out. Jadyn, buddy, pick one or the other. You can't be both at once. Not long after this, Jadyn shares a picture of his reporting history and tries to claim that he's never sent a false report. But yeah, I think we can all agree that's BS. Jadyn then proceeds to start attacking more people, and by this point, another big commentary YouTuber named Turkey Tom catches wind of the situation and calls out Jadyn's behavior, and then Jadyn responds to him by basically telling him to stop being mean. Jadyn then makes this tweet where he's once again just victimizing himself, complaining about how everyone in the commentary community hates each other, and saying that he's going to deactivate his Twitter accounts. And well, he actually goes through with that. But it doesn't last for very long, because the next day, he reveals in Discord that he's been using his old Twitter account that was apparently suspended. So this makes it 2 times now that Jadyn has lied about leaving Twitter. At this point, it's clear that he'll never leave. Lyrics goes on to make another video on Jadyn, discussing the whole situation I just talked about, and that should have been the end of this, but there is still a little more to the story. Another channel named Tommy C did a live stream where he watched Lyrics' video, and at one point he even brought on Jadyn, and well, here's a little clip of how it all turned out.
Jayln, you're on. Do you have anything to say? Because I'm very upset with you. Hello? We didn't get control, did we?
No. Hold on. Here we go.
All right, Jayln, let me put it to you. Is there anything, and you be quiet there, Lyrics. Is there anything that I've said that is completely fucking out of line, with the possible exception of my theory on the whole situation, which I'd be happily wrong about? What have I said? What is in this video that crosses the line so much? And please, after you tell me what crosses the line, tell me how that doesn't cross the shit some of the shit you've said.
You know, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I'm not going to answer that.
Why call
That's
in?
my answer.
Brilliant.
The chat's told me to join, so I joined. That's
What do you
why.
mean just tell me to join or you join? Do you want this stuff to stop happening? Stop doing it. You realize that Nick, you realize all my friends give a shit about you for some fucking reason?
I'm done with the community.
Well, yeah, okay, fine. If that's what you, if you want to do,
channel,
if that's what you want to do, that's fucking fine. But don't ask for fucking help if you're gonna all fucking flag us when you get your panties in a bunch. That's fucked up. Especially when you're talking about fucking and killing Catholics and everything else. That's fucked up. You know, I don't give a shit if you make Catholic. I don't care if you make 9/11 jokes. I don't give a fuck. But at least no, don't be a hypocrite about it then. Do your own thing. But I'm going to tell you something, Jayln. Here's what ends up happening. You need people in this business if you want to last longer. And I know you want to last longer. Because you wouldn't be worried about this 39,000 sub channel with 2,727 views if you weren't worried about him.
I flagged him because he deserved it. That's why I flagged him.
How did you deserve it?
Then you deserve to be flagged off of YouTube. You deserve to be flagged. You know, I'm looking for it. You know, you getting flagged off of YouTube is like it's like a dream come true. Like Hassan and Vosh getting nailed on Cracker. It's like you see it's the same thing. Jayln?
What?
What do you mean? What are we on a bus stop? Did a train just go by? You didn't hear what I said? Like, don't you realize how hypocritical that is?
Not really. I just pressed the flag button. That's really all there is.
Why did he deserve it?
YouTube chose
to
not take down the video.
Oh, shut up. I already heard this. I hope you get flagged off. I hope you get flagged off the platform. And you know what? I am going to go out of my way. I am going out of my way. I am calling goddamn Optimus after this, and I'm going anybody to listen, never to help you when you get in trouble. Not one fucking person. Not Nick, not Keemstar, not Mudahar, anybody. I will fly to Toronto and get my hands and knees and say, Mudahar, whip out your cock, because I'm going to suck you off just so you don't help Jadyn. Got that? That's what I'm going to do, because you're a fucking prick. Yeah, how dare you talk about my fucking people fucking getting murdered, you sucker. Bye.
Okay.
I guess you could say that ended with a bang.
Bruh.
So to summarize this whole argument, Jayln was asked a pretty fair and logical question, and he basically refuses to answer it. And his explanation for flagging Valerix's video was because he deserved it, and he said that all he did was quote-unquote push a button, which was kind of weird. Basically, Jayln is being given an opportunity to explain his actions and resolve the drama, but he's not showing any interest and care in doing so. This actually wasn't the only time that Jayln was brought onto a livestream to explain his actions, because not too long after this, another channel named ArgyRFC invited Jadyn onto his stream to try and resolve the recent drama between him and Lyrics, and it accomplishes about just as much as the previous stream, and by that I mean nothing at all. Jadyn is once again asked to explain why he flagged Lyrics' video, and he once again tries to justify it as just pressing a button, basically ignoring the rest of the context behind it all. He also says that he no longer sees the video as harassment because YouTube didn't remove the video, which is pretty strange. Jadyn also tries to say that he regrets everything he's done in the past, and he tries to backpedal on flagging Lyrics' video by saying that it wasn't a big deal. Then, when Jadyn is asked if he thinks he's ever been unfairly cancelled by the commentary community, he says yes, but when he was asked to elaborate, he just goes dead silent and says nothing. Here's a few clips from the video.
I just flagged the video, okay? That's about it.
You were still claiming I have a history of harassment.
The action of pressing a flag button is not that big of a deal.
So you're saying that you agreed that the video is no longer harassment because YouTube denied giving it a strike, basically, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
look, in all honesty, I just said a bunch of like bullshit. Okay, that's the truth. I don't stand by anything I've said in the past. Like, it was all just in the moment.
Understandable.
Like, you know what? In all honesty, I don't care. All right, I shouldn't have flagged your video. That was stupid in the first place. But
okay, so you backtrack. So you're not doubling down anymore, even though you dropped a fucking video yesterday saying.
Well,
you know
I do kind of agree with what I
button.
said. Like, flagging videos isn't a big deal. Like, I literally flagged Mini Lad in that video.
Jayln, do you feel like you've been unfairly canceled by the commentary community?
Yeah, at times.
Explain that. Why?
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. Like, I just wanted to like know what the logic is or the reasoning behind that is. Jayln? Jayln, are you there?
Once again, Jadyn is being given an opportunity to redeem himself, and he's not showing the slightest bit of care nor interest. So at this point, you might have a picture in your head of what the Jadyn cycle looks like. First he'll say something stupid or do something that makes him look like a hypocrite, then when people call him out, he'll either double down or start attacking anyone who criticizes him, and once he realizes that nobody is on his side at all, he'll proceed to completely victimize himself and act like he did nothing wrong, and then once enough time has passed, the cycle starts back up again. It's actually pretty pathetic when you see the full picture, but at the same time, it's hilarious and entertaining to watch him completely obliterate himself, and fortunately, there is still some more to discuss. It was a nice day in the summer of July 2021, and Jadyn decides to delve into the only topic that is worse than politics, religion, and he doesn't hold back either. He starts off by asking why religious people are so sensitive, but then he proceeds to say that he wants religious people gone entirely, and that he wants World War II to happen to all religious people, basically saying that he wants all religious people to experience the Holocaust. I guess it's no surprise now that he would make a tweet like this. But it doesn't stop there, because he also says that supporting religion is a weakness and that only weak people are religious, and he also says that false belief is ignorance and questions why you would go your whole life believing something that's blatantly false. Bro, I could literally use that exact same argument against you being trans. You're a biological male and you're choosing to believe that you're a female. I could easily argue that's a false belief. I could easily say that you're weak for believing that, and I could easily ask why you choose to believe something that's blatantly false. And I'm not saying I do think that, but you get the point. He's basically attacking people for having their own beliefs, despite the fact that he has his own set of beliefs. And he's also calling people sensitive and weak, despite the fact that he's already proven to be very weak and sensitive himself. So yeah, he's once again being a massive hypocrite. Someone actually responded to Jadyn by making the same argument that I just made, and he tries to counter-argue it by saying this. If I said that the world will be better without communism, is that like saying the world will be better without Mexicans? No. Communism is an ideology, just like religion is. Yeah, you know what else is an ideology? Being trans. You chose to be a transgender person at your own will, just like how religious people chose to be religious. However, I don't expect Jadyn to see eye to eye with this, because he even admits that he thinks religion is the same as fascism, which is ironic since Jadyn seems to really love fascism. Not long after, a YouTuber named Tipster responds to Jadyn, saying that he respects all religions, and that it's time to try and force your beliefs down people's throats. And this is coming from someone who's religious, by the way. But Jadyn not surprisingly responds by doubling down on his argument. Tipster even tries to say that he's been supportive of Jadyn, but then Jadyn just lashes out at him and acts like Tipster betrayed his trust, like he has with pretty much everyone else. Eventually, the whole thing goes full circle. Jadyn realizes how much his words backfired and that nobody is on his side, and so he once again just deactivates his Twitter account. It really is just hilarious how all these situations start and end the same way. It's almost like Jadyn plans this all out. But why would he purposely cancel himself, you ask? Well, the answer is quite simple actually. It gives him attention. This isn't the only time that Jadyn talks about religion. There are a few similar instances to these where he's basically just shitting on religion, and eventually gets his Twitter suspended. Jadyn tries to justify the religious comments by saying that it's all just edgy jokes, but just by looking at tweets like these, even a blind man can tell that these aren't jokes. Around the summer of last year, Technoblade fortunately passed away from cancer, and just like when he first announced he had cancer, people took the opportunity to milk him for views. And not surprisingly, among these people was Jadyn. Literally only hours after Technoblade's final video was uploaded, Jadyn was doing a livestream titled Rest in Peace Technoblade, and in the stream, he's just playing Fall Guys. I'm actually confused what the point of the stream was. Like, even if this was a charity stream, the fact that you're doing this right after Techno's passing makes it look like you're doing this for nothing but attention. Jadyn explains that he chose to do this because another YouTuber named Acheeto was doing the same thing, but this explanation is pretty confusing since Jadyn would normally call out people for doing something like this, so now Jadyn is just copying people for doing things that he himself has called out in the past. That's not even the worst part, however, because Jadyn goes on to make 2 videos related to Technoblade's death, but then after that, he goes on to make multiple videos exposing Brazo for milking Technoblade's death. So even though Jadyn has already made multiple videos on Technoblade's death, he somehow has the audacity to call out others for doing the same. I will at least point out that Brazo did things that were actually pretty scummy, but after seeing everything that Jadyn has done so far, he really has no right to call him out. A few days later, Jayln gets on the call with a bunch of random people on Discord, and in this call, he basically just gets bullied and made fun of. Jayln responds to them the way he normally does, by sending death threats to all of them, threatening to report one of them, threatening to get one of them fired from their job, and at one point, he even says the N-word. Here's a few clips from the call.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say the reason I joined this voice chat is
nobody cares. Ooh, there's the Technoblade video, 358k views. Ooh, the next video only got 30k views. Ooh. Smells like broken here. Get the f out of here. Can't believe my finances got called into question by someone I don't know on the internet. I'm really insecure about this because I'm not making it up, guys.
fucking. You should actually kill yourself, honestly. I'm gonna find where you work, and I'm gonna get you fired from your job, and then you're gonna wind up homeless, and then you're just gonna die on the streets. That's what's gonna happen. Do you want a real life threat? I will come to your house, and I will shoot you and your entire family.
Guess what, Jayln? You will never be a woman.
Dingo, stop.
Oh my god.
Stop. No, that's not.
Alright? I'm flagging your channel right now, so f you.
Fucking white privileged piece of shit. Middle class spoiled loser.
Oh my god, I need a water bottle, guys. We're back.
Fuck you.
So if I'm being honest, I don't think what these people did was really necessary, and I think it's pretty obvious they were just looking to get a reaction out of Jadyn. But Jadyn didn't really sound any better, in fact he sounded worse, and at this point, he's basically just asking for this type of attention. Eventually this recording will make its way around Twitter, and Jadyn would eventually proceed to have another meltdown where he complains about how much the commentary community sucks and how he's blocked everyone in the community. Now the death threats aren't really anything new, but what really makes this drama stand out compared to others is because of that one single word Jadyn said, and I've heard what the uncensored version sounds like. He did actually say it if you're wondering. Not surprisingly, Jadyn has a history of using the N-word and saying other messed up stuff on Discord servers. He did eventually apologize for this behavior, and he explained that he was an edgy teenager at the time trying to fit in with all the other edgelords, but seeing how he confidently said the N-word out loud with zero hesitation, and looking at everything else I've talked about in this video, it seems that he hasn't exited that phase quite yet. And to further prove this, Jadyn would eventually be invited onto another Discord call with a YouTuber named Zero Needs Coffee, and well, I think it's better if I just play the clip.
Like, was the audio real? Like, of you saying the N-word to that dude? Like, was that legit?
No, I've never said in my life. What are you talking about?
Not only does Jayln confidently say the N-word once again, but then he proceeds to deny ever saying the word, literally right after saying it, mind you. And he argues that the clip from the other call was photoshopped. Yes, he did say that. Here's the clip.
I would never say the N-word. Yeah, that was Photoshop. They used Photoshop.
I think it's clear by now that he's not even trying to take the situation seriously, and it really does make me wonder if Jayln is doing all this on purpose for attention. But back to the Discord call, Jayln then says that the threat he made towards one of the people to get them fired from their job was just a joke, and here's that clip.
Yeah, that was not a serious threat whatsoever.
Even if it's not serious to you, they might take it as serious to them because they don't know. Like, if somebody told me, I'm going to call up where you work and get you fired, I would feel pretty threatened. Like, I would like to.
No, the guy definitely knew. He definitely knew I was just joking around.
The conversation moves over to Brazo and how Jayln called him out for making 3 videos in Technoblade the day after he died, despite the fact that Jayln basically did the same thing if you include his live stream. Here's the clip from the video.
Now, if he only made 3, would you say he's in the wrong? If he only made 3 Technoblade videos, for example?
Yeah, if he made 3 Technoblade videos like the day after he died, yeah, that would still be wrong.
But that's what you did, though. Like, you made 3 Technoblade videos after he died.
The second one was, I can't believe Minecraft did this, which first of all doesn't have like techno in the title or thumbnail, and that was originally supposed to be like a YouTube short, but I wanted to tell people to donate to the fundraiser, so I made that like a normal video. And then my other videos are calling out Brazo.
Eventually the conversation becomes a debate on whether Jayln milked Technoblade or not, but it ends without reaching a proper conclusion. However, it doesn't stop there, because later on, Zero would share a link to one of his videos where he talks about comments Jayln made on Reddit, and Jayln responds by sharing a picture of George Floyd and saying that he's kneeling on Zero's dead channel. Wow, every time I think Jayln has hit rock bottom, he somehow manages to reach even lower than before. Like, at this point he's probably broken through the bedrock floor. Zero then points out to Jayln that he's black, and Jayln responds by just saying okay and, basically incentivizing that he doesn't care. So obviously, what Jayln is doing here is incredibly racist, but wait a second, no, that can't be true. This is obviously just another edgy joke. At least that's what Jayln would probably say. After his screenshots started going public, Jadyn would make a tweet saying that he would stop making edgy jokes and saying slurs, but at this point, we all know by now that's a load of crap. Zero would then get into another call of Jadyn once again trying to see if they could resolve the drama, but it doesn't really do any good. Jadyn first tries to justify saying the N-word by mentioning how someone else named iDub said it, which is not only a pathetic excuse, but Jadyn is just once again using other people's actions as an excuse for his own. Here's the clip.
iDubbbz literally said the N-word multiple times in a video.
This isn't Jadyn.
That video is still on YouTube right now.
Okay,
Jadyn,
imagine
this is the type of shit you do. You will bring up, instead of admitting you're wrong, you will bring up somebody else that did the same thing as you.
I know this term is used a lot, but Jadyn, if someone jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge, would you do it as well? Actually, why am I even asking that? He's probably gonna say yes. Jadyn also tries to justify his George Floyd comment as, you guessed it, just another one of his edgy jokes. Here's a clip of that.
Saying you're kneeling on his dead channel, which, you know, that's
based.
That's
totally
based. Totally
based.
If you don't know that he's black. However, he did say right after that he was black, and you were just like, okay, and like I feel like that's the point where you should have apologized instead of only offering to apologize once it has the potential.
Okay, well, I'm sorry you got offended by my joke.
Jadyn goes on to claim that Zero is spreading false information about him, but he refuses to elaborate or give any concrete examples. Eventually, Jadyn lashes out at Zero and leaves the call once he realizes that he's been backed into a corner. And here's a clip of that.
You're literally lying about me and spreading false information.
If that's the case,
Jayln, what's the false information that's being spread?
Yeah, what's the false information?
Literally everything in your videos.
Find a specific one.
I could make a video responding to you.
Then do it
on Twitter.
You don't need to. Just go into my video and tell me what's false and what isn't true. The fact that you didn't have the fundraisers on the. Okay, no,
that right there is provably fucking false. That right there is.
No, you just talked to me for 15 minutes.
Kill yourself. You're a piece
of
shit.
Porn. Go watch Femboy
I'm gonna
porn.
report you. Fuck you. Can't wait to report your death. Kill yourself.
As you may have heard in that clip, Jadyn also threatened to report Zero, and well, Zero does go on to explain later that Jadyn threatened to report his channel, and this wouldn't be the first time that Jadyn has tried doing this. But aside from that, we've reached the end of another chapter of the Jadyn cycle. However, we're still not done quite yet. I know, crazy. Around the time that Jadyn was talking to Zero Needs Coffee, he would make a video on someone named Stone Toss, calling him out for making jokes that sounded racist and anti-Semitic. I don't even need to explain how hypocritical this is. Like, even if Jadyn never said the N-word, you still have tweets like these that exist. Jadyn gets called out for this on Twitter, and like always, he tries to justify his words as nothing but edgy jokes, but even if he was just joking all along, he's still a hypocrite for calling someone out for doing the exact same thing. Not surprisingly, it gets worse from there, as Jadyn literally calls a Jewish person a Hebrew speaker, and says that their religion grooms children. So now Jadyn is being an even bigger hypocrite. Someone actually posted a compilation of all the racist and anti-Semitic things that Jadyn has said, and I'll show that to you right now.
You never said in my life.
I think the messaging is pretty clear in that one. And then we got this one, which is just pushing like an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
Jew fat. I like him. He's pretty cool. He's a cool guy. And Hit did nothing wrong. I killed one, just got about 4 million more to go. Or was it like 14 million? I don't know.
That bitch. He's a and I hate you. Like all died.
Jadyn goes on to make another post on TwitLonger, and to summarize it all, he once again tries to justify every bad thing he's ever said as just a joke, but then also saying things that make him sound like a hypocrite. For example, he mentions how some jokes can be harmful, which is how you could describe almost every joke he's ever made. He also says he doesn't like transgender jokes because of the fact that he's transgender, and all I have to say to that is, if transgender jokes offend you because you're transgender, then maybe you should stop making religious jokes because you could be offending religious people. Jadyn also tries to justify his actions by saying that he grew up with Twitter and South Park, which I mean, first off, nobody should be growing up with Twitter, but also, using South Park as an excuse is incredibly childish. I mean, this isn't the first time that Jadyn has tried shifting the blame onto someone or something else, but do you seriously need to be told not to copy what you see on TV? Like, holy crap, I almost feel sorry for Jadyn at this point. Stone Toss would eventually take notice of what's happening, and he would make multiple posts calling out Jadyn's edgy tweets, and Jadyn would respond to this by privating his Twitter accounts, and he would go on to Discord to complain about Stone Toss attacking him. What's funny is that the server he wants to complain on is the same server that he got bullied and said the N-word on. I'm gonna guess he resolved the beef he had with those people. About a day later, a YouTuber named Doc on the radio did a livestream where he talks about the situation between Jadyn and Stone Toss, and Jadyn was invited onto the stream at one point, and well, Jadyn admits to some pretty serious stuff that definitely won't go unnoticed. Here's a few clips from the stream.
So, okay, first of all, I get a lot of people saying, you can't play both sides, but that's literally who I am as a person. I play both sides.
So you're duplicitous? What does that even mean? A snake? What do you mean you play? What does that mean?
No, it's not being a snake. It's called being a nuanced person who's not like, oh, wow, this side bad, this side good.
Yeah, why did you remove BLM? I'm kind of curious.
Because it was in there as a joke, because someone said...
Wait! You are a grifter! Wait, you literally called me an alt-right grifter, but then you literally grift to like the far left. Like you literally you put BLM in the bio, that was a joke?
No, that's not why it was in my bio. It was in there so I wouldn't get banned from Twitter as a meme.
What?
But then people said it was...
That's not how it works! What are you talking about? Are you high?
So Jadyn not only admits that he's playing both sides, but he even goes on to say that he only had BLM in his social media bio as a joke. At this point, I'm not even surprised anymore. Jadyn would go on to do a live stream of his own, where he once again just admits to playing both sides, and here's the clip of that.
I'm on both sides, okay? I'm always on both sides. I'm always playing both sides, okay? I can be both a racist and not a racist. That's who I am.
Jadyn would end this stream and start another stream, and in this new stream, he basically just mimics a bad YouTuber apology. Here's a clip of that.
I have made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. I'm not here to apologize, just merely to garner your sympathy in an attempt to manipulate you. That's what I'm doing here, guys. You see, the things that I did, I didn't know they were wrong. I was young. I was stupid. I was reckless. And I didn't know that what I did was harmful, that it would hurt people. I didn't know that. I did those things because I wanted to. Quite frankly, that's why I did them. I just want you guys to know that I'm a good person, okay? I'm good. I'm a really good person, okay? Believe me, please.
Jadyn would then go on to talk about everything that's happened recently. He talks about Stone Toss, he talks about his edgy jokes, he calls Zero a hypocrite for milking Technoblade's death, even though Zero made a video on Brazo and not Technoblade. And then he goes on to talk about his George Floyd comment towards Zero, and here's what he had to say.
And I like sent him like a joke. I said, oh, I'm gonna kneel on your dead channel, and he says that was racist because he's black. I didn't know he was black, okay? Which I apologize for that, and I apologize to him for that. Obviously, that's not okay.
While it was true that initially Jadyn didn't know that Zero was black, he definitely did not apologize for his George Floyd comment. That right there is a complete lie. All he did was say that he's sorry that Zero got offended by his joke. He didn't actually apologize for what he said. Speaking of jokes, here's a little extra taste of Jadyn's sense of humor.
I support Hitler, guys. Totally real, 100%. Hitler's a great guy. I love him. I love what he did. Except for the part where he killed Hitler. You know, that was bad. No, that was good. It was good.
At one point, Jadyn basically just admits to not giving a crap about anything, and that he doesn't care what anyone thinks about him, but not without saying that it's all just a joke. Here's the clip.
This is not accountable. I don't give a f***, okay? I don't give a f***. Hold me accountable, bitch. I f***ing dare you. Okay, what's gonna happen? Oh man, the Twitter police is mad at me. Oh my god. I don't care. I literally do not f***ing care. Hold me accountable for what? Being f***ing based, making funny jokes. Screw you. You know, screw all you people. You're annoying. Go outside. Cancel Dream, please, so I can make a video on it. That's what I want you to do. Don't cancel me. Cancel Dream. Okay, I'm joking. But it's like annoying. It's very annoying.
There is more to the stream, but Jadyn privated the stream later on, so this is all I can really show off. But in summary, Jadyn admits that he's playing both sides, he does a crappy YouTuber apology, he says a bunch of edgy crap, and he admits to not caring at all. In other words, he goes full mask off. The more I read into all this drama, the more I'm convinced that all this is being staged. Now this was actually supposed to be the last drama that I was going to talk about, but there's recently been an update to the Jayln saga, so now we have an extra story to discuss. This is the most recent drama that's occurred. In fact, it's so recent that it's only been like a month since this began, and I'm not even sure if it's finished quite yet. Right before the end of 2022, acheeto made a video calling out Jadyn. In the video, he highlights a bunch of tweets from Jadyn where he's bragging about being autistic. He calls out the anti-religious comments that Jadyn has made throughout the last few years. Nothing really new or crazy, just typical Jadyn behavior. But there's one thing acheeto discussed that stood out compared to everything else, and that would be grooming accusations. To explain the context, a YouTuber named Natty4civ was exposed for showing his wiener to a 12-year-old on Discord, and for doing something else that I don't even want to say out loud because some of you might lose your sanity. But after this happened, a lot of people cut ties with Natty4civ, except for at least one person, and that person being the star of this video, Jadyn. I will admit that he did eventually stop being friends with Natty, but not because of what he did, but because Natty apparently said some mean things to him, which isn't really a surprise at this point that would be his reasoning. After acheeto made his video, Jayln would obviously respond, because well, why wouldn't he? And in his response, he basically does the dumbest possible thing he could do. He denies the allegations against Natty, which is dumb because it's actually been proven that the allegations are real. Like, this isn't the same thing as the dream allegations where all you can do is speculate if they're real or not. This is 100% real, and to prove this, here's a few video clips that I was able to dig up.
It involves something.
I do know there's 13-year-olds in here, and younger.
I mean, if it's younger, then you should ban them, and you're gonna get banned if you keep them in the server, so I hate to eat my covers.
And she said something sexual, and then I replied saying, you know, I thought you were 14 or some shit, when I had no as to how old she actually was. And so one thing led to another, and basically with everyone like f***ing around saying, you know, oh, she's f***ing 14, isn't she? I essentially put 2 and 2 together and was like, wait, did you actually add somebody to the group chat who isn't meant to be here? It gets even worse. She left the group chat. She actually came back later on saying that, no, I'm not 14, I'm 12. And I do want to say that she didn't sound 12. And on Snapchat, that's when it became kind of serious, so I was kind of interested in this person. It became some really like idea everyone had that I was at like AskIf and shit. I'd even asked in voice notes like, oh, come on, it will only take 1 second. Like, I was asking semi-ironically.
Okay, Crazy, can you play the audio that Nathan sent you?
Okay.
Crazy, please just send me a picture. It'll only take a second, please, thank you.
Yeah.
If that isn't good enough proof for you, Jadyn, then I don't know what is. acheeto will go on to make a response to Jadyn's video where he brings up all of these points, and after this, things get a little more interesting. Jadyn goes on to Discord and says that he's not going to respond to acheeto because it's not worth his time, which is basically just 2 lies in 1 sentence. He says it's not worth his time to respond, even though he clearly has nothing better to do than respond, and he also says he won't respond, which he ends up doing anyways. Jadyn also tries to accuse acheeto of hating gay people, and his proof of this is an Instagram story where acheeto shares a post that was made by Dobuzgus, but all the post really does is promote going to the gym and working out, and as someone who works out, I gotta say that is very based. Moving away from acheeto for a little bit, remember that guy Grimsy I mentioned earlier, the one that Jayln accused of being transphobic? Well, while all this was happening, he was talking to Jadyn on Discord trying to put some sense into his thick skull, but all Jadyn does is get mad at Grimsy for portraying him for quote-unquote acheeto clout, and the conversation ends with another one of Jadyn's anti-religious remarks. Here's a clip from one of Grimsy's videos.
What's brain dead is acheeto to go on a video and misgender me because he, in quotations, doesn't respect me. I replied with, you said you want to put his people in a f***ing gas chamber, grow the up, disrespect is reciprocal. Jadyn then says, what's dumb is acheeto to falsely accuse my friend of being a pedophile. I said, then prove him wrong, which they never f***ing will, because believe it or not, their friend is a f***ing pedophile. And then Jadyn said, honestly, acheeto is the prime example of why I hate Christians. I think they knew that that one was going to be screenshotted, so they changed it later to why I hate most Christians, but we all know what you meant. Like, imagine justifying putting an entire group and race and religion of people into a gas chamber because one person called you gay. Like, holy shit.
Even if this was a valid joke, let's not forget that Jadyn said he would stop making these types of jokes, so once again he's failed at keeping his word. Back over to acheeto, Jadyn also replied to his Instagram story by calling him a dimwit, and as you can see in this screenshot, acheeto corrected his grammar because he used the wrong form of "your," which I'm assuming pissed off Jadyn, because then he responds by saying God is dead. But now I'm starting to realize that if you piss off Jadyn hard enough, he'll just say some random messed up thing. Or things. acheeto responds by saying, not any more than your channel, and I'm not sure what Jadyn says after, but he probably just sent a death threat or something. Going back over to Grimsy, someone commented on one of his videos showing screenshots of Jadyn basically comparing CP to free speech. Like, bro, holy crap. Now he's gone from defending a creep to sounding like a creep himself. No wonder he was defending Natty. If Jadyn were to be accused of grooming now, I would just believe it the second I hear it, even if there's no proof. Now in all seriousness, as much as I don't want to admit it, this doesn't automatically mean he's a groomer. He's most likely just saying dumb stuff once again. I mean, this is the same person that thinks religion and fascism are the same thing. Let's not forget that. But my gosh, if Jadyn was a lawyer, he would probably be the worst lawyer on the entire planet. Now back over to acheeto, he would go on to make a third video on Jadyn where he highlights most of the stuff I just talked about, and after that, things would go quiet for about a week, but then Jay makes another response video to acheeto, and then acheeto proceeds to make a response to Jadyn's response. I'm not really going to go into detail with each argument, I'll just let acheeto do most of the talking. So Jadyn first tries to respond to comments claiming that he's friends with EDP 2.0, but he paints the picture in a way that makes it look like acheeto is the one making these comments. Here's a clip from acheeto's video.
So this is going to be my final response to the drama between acheeto and I. Now, before I get into the apologies that are necessary, I will not be apologizing for associating with Natty Forsyth. There have been so many blatantly false claims made about me and made about Nat. It is wildly unethical to go around claiming that I am supporting and that I'm friends with EDP 2.0.
Okay, dude, this is the second time you've done this. He takes, like, comments that my fans leave on his videos and responds to those comments rather than what I'm saying. He's like, it's unethical to claim that I'm friends with EDP 2.0, and it's like, okay, I didn't say that. I think he does this because it's easier to respond to what some dumbass YouTube commenter said rather than my thorough and thought-out criticism of you.
It's unethical to make videos calling that the next EDP.
Okay, sick. I didn't do that. Like, that's my friend's video, that's not my video. You said you're responding to the drama between you and acheeto, but you're not responding to acheeto, you're responding to other people.
Along with this, Jadyn claims another channel named Ruben Sim was also still friends with Natty Forsyth, and he tries to show proof of this from a Turkey Tom livestream, but if you watch the actual clip he shows, he takes a lot of it out of context. Here's another clip from acheeto's video.
Now, acheeto claimed multiple times that I am one of Nat's only friends, that Nat is like a known 100% confirmed like pedophile, right? Everyone knows this, alright? Everyone dropped them, no one's friends with them except me. That is simply incorrect framing. Earlier today, another one of Nat's associates, Ruben Sim, who is very popular in the Roblox community, would go onto Turkey Tom's livestream and, just like I have, defended Nat.
Okay, so pay attention to the way that Jadyn framed this. He's making it sound like this guy, Ruben Sim, went onto this livestream and basically said, yeah, Natty Forsyth, completely innocent, everything about him is totally misconstrued and wrong, but that's just not what we're gonna see.
Oh, Natty?
Yeah.
He had controversy because I think he had like a Snapchat group and it's just like with his buddy. And someone added a 13-year-old and didn't tell anyone, and he was like making sexual jokes and stuff with her. And yeah, but once he figured out her age, they kicked her out. And
you call that defending Natty Forsyth? Dude got like 5 things wrong about the story. 1, there wasn't a Snapchat group chat, it was a Discord group chat. 2, the girl was 12, not 13. And 3, the quote-unquote sexual jokes that he's referencing weren't jokes, it was just straight up Natty Forsyth asking for. This guy's entire story is wrong, and I think he knows that it could be wrong, because before even telling it, he's like, okay, here's what I think happened. Listen to that.
He had controversy because I think he had like a Snapchat group.
So the guy who's defending your best friend is literally misinformed on the entire thing.
Jadyn goes on to make a bunch of other counter arguments, but honestly, it's just not worth going through all of it. Like at one point, Jadyn tries arguing that he didn't know about what Natty did when he was still friends with him, but then he says that he tried asking Natty for confirmation if it was all true or not. Like bro, are you really just going to take his word for it? Jadyn also tries to apologize for people getting offended by his jokes, just once again taking every bad thing he's ever said and disguising it all as edgy humor. And he says once more that he's going to stop making edgy jokes, but of course, he's not going to keep his word. Now this was supposed to be the end of the drama, but something else just happened very recently that I can't ignore. To explain the context, AcheeRFC invited Jadyn onto another Discord call, and in this call, I'm not exactly sure what he said, but he said something that Jadyn didn't like, and after he said what he did, Jadyn proceeded to have a huge meltdown. Like this is probably the biggest meltdown that Jadyn has ever had. No joke whatsoever. You could literally describe this as like the final boss battle of meltdowns. To summarize it all up, Jadyn plays every single card in the book. He blames others for his actions, he says the N-word, he makes another suicide threats, and to top it all off, he tries really hard to play the victim and make everyone feel bad for him. Here's a clip from the live stream.
No one else should care.
I find it just really funny that they say on Twitter, yeah, all transphobic people are pedophiles, and just being openly transphobic towards Ringo.
That's not being transphobic. I can make 41% jokes. Also, Ringo's also literally making the same jokes. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what the fuck? Are you retarded?
Ooh.
Like,
We're not You're not black. You're not black, Jayln. You're not allowed to say
To be
that.
fair, I don't give a
You're
fuck.
not
You
allowed
don't
to say
give a
that
fuck
word. Are you
either.
racist? I am black.
Jesus,
I am
you're
black,
all
actually.
hypocrites.
You don't
Okay,
know
calm
I
down,
am
buddy.
black,
Calm
Jayln.
down.
You don't know that?
Fuck you.
I'm literally.
Like, actually. Fuck you.
Oh.
Do you want me to kill myself? Is that what your goal is? You people are literally driving me
How is that
insane. Day by day.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Day.
What are you
Jayln, listen.
Do you want me to do this?
Jayln,
Oh my
listen.
god, why would
listen.
you say that? Why are you going crazy? Why are you malting? Why are you having a breakdown? Like, that is literally your intention. That is what you're trying to do. Because
My
you
intention on Twitter was to ratio
because you enjoy it,
just
because
called
it's
yourself a pedophile,
pleasurable to you,
which is
because
funny.
you're all fucking sociopaths, and you all fucking feed off of it. It's fucking psychotic,
all right.
and I can't fucking handle it.
All right,
3 fucking years of this shit. Every
all right,
day.
Jayln, I'm gonna give you advice.
Fuck you.
Listen, the problem.
I can't fucking deal with this
Here's the
shit.
problem with
It's
it.
just
It's how you're
it's just-
reacting to
I've
the
had
problem.
fucking enough.
You've
I've had
enough. You
fucking
should have
enough
listened the
of
first
all of
time we
it.
told you.
He's had enough.
How they left.
Honestly, after hearing that, I almost can't help but feel bad for Jadyn. I mean, it is technically his fault that this is even happening, but this genuinely sounds like a cry for help. And what's ironic is that so many people have tried helping Jadyn, but he just doesn't allow for anyone to help him. That's not even the worst part of the stream, however. In fact, what I'm about to say next might shock you to the core, more than even the George Floyd comments. You think you've seen it all, but get ready for this, because Jadyn literally doxed himself. Yes, you heard that right. He pulled a Tony Stark and shared his address to the entire world, basically with the intention of bringing the fight onto his turf. I couldn't find where the clip originated from, so I had to use a clip from one of Grimsey's videos. Shout out to him. And I should also note that the part where he shares his address is censored for very obvious reasons, but here's the clip.
So, I want you to swat me. Hold on. Who wants my address?
Fucking address.
Okay,
She just read off her address.
I timed her out before she could give it the full thing.
Jesus Christ.
So eventually, these clips make their way around Twitter, and like in past situations, Jadyn deactivated his Twitter account, but then he comes back the next day like nothing happened, and for now at least, that's where the story comes to an end. Okay, so while recording this, I noticed that Jadyn uploaded an apology video on one of his other channels. The apology itself isn't bad, but there are two issues with it. First off, he says that he'll change and try to improve himself, but every time he says this, he doesn't even go a day keeping that promise. And well, that's exactly what happens here, because now he's just making dumb tweets like these. Second off, I find it strange how he's not uploading this on his main channel. It's almost as if he didn't want this video to get noticed. But yeah, I just want to add that in. And I think that officially puts a wrap on this chapter of the Jadyn cycle. That was the last big story to discuss, but there's a few other random things I want to highlight, so let's go. Jadyn made a video calling out Kanye West for supporting you-know-who, despite the fact that he's made tweets like these. Pokimane shared a picture of herself a while back, and someone responded by saying that she's aging, and Jadyn replies by calling that disgusting. Not only is Jadyn getting offended super easily by a very harmless comment, but let's not forget this is coming from someone who said the N-word multiple times and has wished death upon anyone who's religious. When Tommy Annette turned 18, Jadyn made a whole video talking about this. Why? Just why would you make this? What was the fucking point? Like you're trying to tell Dream Stans that they can draw fan art of him now without it being weird? I'm actually confused by this. Jadyn made multiple videos talking about the Eggman and how he was unfairly demonetized because of Quantum TV, who was falsely reporting his videos, despite the fact that Jadyn tried doing the same thing to Lyrics, along with many other people. You guys remember Vince Kuh, the guy who became famous from roasting Jellybean? Well, there was one time where he was reading through comments on his videos, and he actually ends up reading a comment from Jadyn himself. Here's the clip.
I love how Vince got famous for roasting PNG tubers. Yeah, stop being mean, why would I? Vince, you're the reason I had a good day. Then your life probably f***ing sucks. Imagine being 17. Is that, like, supposed to be bad? My bad that I'm not a 7-year-old putting crayons up my f***ing ass. What's wrong with being transgender or schizophrenic, huh? What? Subscribe or I'm gonna fold you and shove you into a fucking locker or something.
If you're wondering what the context behind this is, here's a clip from another one of Vince's videos.
It's like 6 in the morning and I'm high as fuck off my schizophrenia medication, so let's go.
So you're schizophrenic, a furry, and transgender. What a fucking fucking resume. We should just put you in a cage and throw you in an Indonesian petting zoo.
Now, I'm not completely sure if he was actually insulting the person for being transgender and schizophrenic, but even if he was, it's really hilarious how Jayln will wish for death upon all religious people, but then get mad at something like this. Just recently, Jayln made a video exposing Sears for talking to underage girls. So it's okay when Natty Forsyth does it, but not when somebody else does it. I see now. Jayln one time made a video calling out Pointless for doing things like milking certain topics and clickbaiting videos, even though Jayln has also done this hundreds of times. And yeah, moral of the story, Jayln is a hypocrite. We finally reached the end of the video. I know it took a pretty long time to reach this point, but Jayln has just been involved in so much drama now that it's hard to keep track. If I had to describe Jayln in simple words, he's a hypocrite, he's a liar, he's sensitive as hell, he's incredibly narcissistic, he's probably racist, and I would even argue that he's genocidal, but like I said at the start of the video, it's not as simple as that. Jayln is basically a predator that acts like prey. He goes around trying to attack people, but when he realizes that it's not working out in his favor, he curls up in a ball and starts trying to make everyone feel bad for him. This is pretty much how the Jayln cycle works. He says dumb things or acts like a hypocrite, and when he gets called out for it, he either doubles down or backpedals, and once he realizes nobody is on his side, he plays the victim and eventually leaves Twitter for 12 hours before coming back like nothing happened. We all know how this works by now, but why exactly do these dramas keep happening, and why do they always start and end the same way? Well, there are two answers I can think of. Either Jayln is a troll and purposely orchestrates everything he does for attention, or he actually suffers from some serious mental health problems. To be honest, I think it's a mix of both. Jayln did mention in the first drama that he has mental health issues, so I may explain why he constantly acts like a lunatic, but there's no possible way that Jayln could lack this much self-awareness, so I also believe that he purposely acts like a hypocrite and says stupid things to get attention. If that is the case, then it honestly feels like Jayln hates himself, because the attention he gets is the only true benefit. But what's the point in gaining attention if it comes with the price of torturing yourself and making everyone hate you? Like, I know my name is Thanos Creeper, but this isn't really a small price to pay for salvation. This is a very large price you're paying for something that only slowly benefits you. Overall, Jayln is a prime example of why you shouldn't be terminally online. All you're doing is trapping yourself inside of your own personal bubble, avoiding any outside interaction whatsoever. It's a very unhealthy way of living, and the stuff I've talked about in this video is clear proof of that. Now at the start of the video, I mentioned that Jayln doesn't deserve any respect as a trans person, and I think it's time now I explain why. First off, he doesn't respect other people's beliefs. He's made so many posts attacking religious people, he questions why they're choosing to believe in things that could easily be false, and he basically just wishes death upon all of them. You can't possibly expect me to respect someone's beliefs if they're not going to respect other people's beliefs. I just don't see how that's fair. Second off, and I'll admit this is kind of speculation, but I honestly don't think Jayln gives a crap about being transgender. I didn't mention it before, but Jayln first started being transgender after the first trauma that occurred. That on its own doesn't mean much, but then let's take into consideration how he called Grimsey transphobic for just talking about him, and how he'll use any opportunity he can to attack other people. Now you might have a picture in your head of where I'm coming from. Again, this is only speculation, but I strongly believe that Jayln only calls himself trans because he thinks it protects him from getting cancelled. Like, I genuinely don't think he actually suffers from gender dystopia. To him, being trans is nothing but a game. But yeah, that's why I don't think Jayln deserves respect as a trans person. I know I might still get some heat for misgendering him or whatever, but I really don't care. You can't force me to respect someone's beliefs. If they want respect, they have to earn that respect. Simple as that. Anyways, these Jayln cycles have happened so many times now that I don't think they'll ever end. Jayln is probably just going to keep dying out and coming back again every once in a while, similar to EDP, the vegan teacher, and acheeto avocado. It's pretty unfortunate that this stuff keeps happening, but at the same time, it is pretty hilarious to watch all this stuff unfold, so there's at least a little benefit. In all seriousness, there is a solution to stop all this from happening again, and that would be for Jayln to just not only quit YouTube, but quit the internet as a whole. Now, I don't really want to be the kind of guy to tell people to give up on their dreams. I think everyone should try and fulfill their dreams until the end. I myself have dreams I want to accomplish as a YouTuber, but in the case of Jadyn, I think it would just be best for him to quit YouTube, because all it's doing is bringing him pain and suffering, and unless he's faking all this, it could come to a point where he does something terrible that he can't take back, and he's already alluded to doing this specific action. Like I said, this is what happens when you're terminally online. And so yeah, I think if Jayln wants to have a bright future, then he really needs to find something else to do that doesn't bring him pain and suffering, because all he's doing is making himself look incredibly pathetic, and even if it is fun to watch, it's also pretty sad to witness. But anyways, that's about it for this video. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and if you want to see more stuff from me, like and subscribe, and turn on the bell to be notified when I upload a new video. I would very much appreciate it.
subscribe.